Hey, today I'm going to do a second part to this series on lessons that I've learned from a divorce, or lessons from a divorce from one human to another. And so today is number 2, the second lesson that I'd like to share with you that I learned from my own divorce. And again, if you think that this would be something helpful for someone that you know who's going through a divorce, or someone who's suffering from the effects of a divorce, please do share it with them so that they can too learn and grow. Maybe these lessons will help them. So the second lesson that I've learned going through a divorce that I'd like to share with you is that as you begin your divorce, understand that you will now become the outlier of the circle. So if you can think back to math, when there was an average mean, right? Let's just say circle, because what I'm going to talk about has to do with the circle. So let's just say that all of the averages fall within this circle, and anything that was not an average is considered to be an outlier. And so as you begin your divorce, understand that you will now become the outlier of the circle. So you're moving from what's inside this average, and you're becoming the outlier, which I'm not saying that to be a good or bad thing. I'm just trying to make it something that's aware. So every relationship, your friends, your family, your kids' friends, families, if you have kids, your teachers, your kids' teachers, your church members, maybe you're part of a church, they have all been accumulated to your life based on the things that you share in common with each other, which is always like a value system, right? So it's common values. So the strong value in America, which you have been accustomed to, has been to find someone you love, get married, have kids, and so on. So this is probably what you have in common with like 99% of the relationships that you hold. If you weren't divorced yet, if you were still married and you're happily married, you probably wouldn't like actively seek out people who are divorced, right? So most of the people that are in your life are probably people who have some kind of a commonality with that value system of either wanting to find someone to get married to, wanting to settle down, people with kids, things like that. And so you may not hold like all of the same beliefs or thoughts or interests with those around you, but you'll still share many core values that you base your life upon with those you hang out. And you'll invite those kinds of people into your life regularly. So something to be very aware of is that when you get a divorce, you are becoming the outlier to the circle of friends or influences that you have accumulated. And this isn't a bad thing, but I think that knowing this really helps to alleviate the pain that some people might go through of losing all of their friends or some of their family members when they go through a divorce. If you're aware that you became an outlier when there was a divorce, whether it's your fault or not, this isn't like a victim mentality type of thing. It's just accepting the fact that now maybe some of your friends won't want to hang around you, or now you might have to go out and seek other people who can be supportive to you, because the people who are happily married might have some different advice for you than people who had went through a divorce themselves. So something to be very aware of is that when you get a divorce, you are about to become the outlier to the circle of friends or influence, and this means that you can expect a lot of those people to stop coming around or answering your texts or calls. And don't let this scare you. It's actually very good, because you're entering into this divorce because your values and your partner's values have changed in opposite directions over time. Like you were growing, but then you went in 2 different directions. And so the direction that you're heading calls for changes anyways. Like life is always changing. So you becoming the outlier to the circle of friends or influence is a great thing, because now you have the opportunity to make all sorts of changes. When you're surrounded with like-minded people, then you achieve those kinds of results. Let's say that I really want to have a high success of having a happy marriage, and let's say that I made it my entire life goal to have a happy marriage, and I didn't care about anything else. I didn't have any personal goals I wanted to achieve. I didn't have any places that I wanted to travel to. Like, let's just say that I was someone who never had goals of my own and wanted to focus only on a marriage. Then I would seek out people who are happily married and I would hang out with those people. Or let's say that I wanted to write a book and I didn't really know how to write a book. Then I would go and seek out people who have written books, or maybe I would join a book club or a writer's club or some kind of a club where I could get some insights on how to write a book or what kind of content organization goes best in a book, things like that. And I think that it's important to be aware that when you're entering into a divorce, it's a bit different of a structure now that you have to find, because when you're on the outside of that circle, you actually have a huge opportunity to bring in all sorts of changes and become that average again with other things. So it's really important to not dwell on the people who are going to leave the life and not get mad at them either. It's pretty understandable that they're not going to want to, hang out with you anymore. That doesn't make them bad people. Some people like to think that people who you lose after a divorce weren't real friends anyways. It's not black and white like that. It's not like they weren't ever real friends. You actually probably had a lot in common. You probably were real friends, and when your values change, you can expect the friendship to shift dramatically. If someone can't accept you for who you are, for what you're going through, that doesn't mean they're bad people, and it doesn't mean that you're a bad person for what you're about to do. It just means that you guys are different, your values are different, and they're not in alignment. And so now it's time to go find other things and people who are in alignment with what you would like to become. It's like a whole world of opportunity. It's really great. If you can view it as an opportunity to fill a whole new circle, that's amazing. You don't have to live that old life anymore. The old life was great, and it's something to really appreciate and soak it all in. That was such a great time to go through, but it's really important that you see the outlier position as something that's not average. It's like you're above average now. Like, you have the opportunity to accumulate different kinds of things and energy and people into your life. So what would you like? So now is like a time to set new intentions on what you want to become in your life. And so it's a really positive time. So again, with the first video, I mentioned that we shouldn't fall victim to other people's shames that they'll try to push on us. And in this video, lesson number 2 is, as you begin your divorce, understand that you will now become the outliers of your circle of friends and influences. And so if you can see that as a great opportunity, that's how you should look at it. And it's okay to let go of the things and the people who were great resources and great additions to your life at that time, additions to your happiness while you were in it. But now you're on the outside of the circle, and it's okay to be there. There is nothing wrong with that. Your ex is on the outside of the circle too. So you guys are both on the outside. So go do you. Find a whole new way of living. It's going to be really great. So stay optimistic about it is basically the point of this video, is that stay optimistic about the people that you'll lose out of your life. So that was lesson number 2. And don't forget to share this with somebody else who needs to hear that message, who you think could bring a lot of help into their life too. Otherwise, if it helped you, please click the like button and the subscribe so that I can know that you had liked it, so that YouTube can also know that you had liked it, and so that we can stay connected through subscribing. So I hope to see you next time. Bye!